Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be making a coin ring. So I've got a gold dollar here. This was generously supplied by our boy Ben. So today we're going to be making him a ring. So the way it works is we're kind of folding the ring inside out. So what we'll do is we'll take the coin here, we need to punch a hole in it, and then we'll use a drill press to do that. You can use some other methods like a die punch, or you could even put it on the lathe. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center of it, cut out a hole in the middle, and then we'll take it and then we'll stretch it inside out. And it's kind of complex to think about, but you'll see in the video. But essentially we'll be using this damping block as well as a ball bearing here. So if you can imagine having a hole in here and then putting it right there and then just hitting this with a hammer, or we'll use the arbor press, and then just slowly flipping that inside out. And then I've got another tool called a ring stretcher that we'll use to continue to shape this to the size we need. And throughout the whole process, we're going to be using a blowtorch to anneal the metal. What that does is it softens the metal and makes it a lot more pliable. That way we can stretch it without cracking it or breaking it. So it should be really fun. We're going to make the back side of it visible because it's got a lot of cool details. And the ring, when we're done, should just say United States of America, $1. And then we should be able to see the tip of the eagle wing and even the stars on here. So it should be a cool ring, have a lot of detail on it. And it's just really fun to make rings out of coins. It's pretty simple and quick. This is definitely something you could do at home. I'm going to be using some tools that make it easier, like that ring stretcher, but you can take a ring mandrel and just hammer it and get it bigger. There's a ton of different videos on YouTube that show you how to do it. So if you're one of the people in the comments that's always asking for a simpler project that you could maybe do at home, this is definitely one I'd recommend. So let's go right ahead and jump right into it. So like I said, our first step is going to be drilling a hole through the center of the coin. I'm using a very simple method for this. I'm literally super gluing it to this piece of wood. And this provides a really good one-time way to do this. You don't have to mess around with trying to clamp it down. It'll A, damage the coin, and B, it's just very difficult to clamp a coin down in the first place. So this actually worked really well, so I'd recommend this if you're trying it yourself. Now we've got that hole made, but we need to clean up those edges because they're pretty sharp. So I'm going to be using a ceramic Dremel bit, and these are really durable, and they're also really good on metals, so that's why I'm using it here. Now our next step will be to anneal the coin, and what this does is it softens the metal, and so we can bend it so it's pliable and stretch it into the shape that we need. And so just a quick hit with that blowtorch and then quenching it in water, and now we're ready to move to the damping block. And what you see I'm doing here is I'm just putting it into the smallest hole that it'll fit in, and then I'm putting this ball bearing here and just pressing it into there. And you can see we're starting to get that cone shape. So you can see it's pressing it into somewhat of a ring shape. You can kind of visualize where we're going here. And then I need to anneal it again. And you can see in the slow-mo shot, it's actually really interesting how this super hot metal interacts with the water. It vaporizes it the second it touches it. And it's actually like a really violent, almost explosion that it causes. So now I'll be sliding it onto the ring stretcher here, and I'm putting it on inverted so that the most narrow end is towards the bottom. And then I'll just slowly stretch that out until we start to get the sides to even out a little bit. But at this point you can still definitely tell that the shape of the ring isn't perfect. It's got a much wider edge at the bottom. So to fix that, we'll be putting it back in the damping block, and then we're actually going to squeeze that wider surface back in so that it's very uniform and we've got those nice flat walls that we want. And that was actually really effective. It takes a little bit of work and it's kind of finicky. But you can see here the results really paid off. And then now, using that same ceramic Dremel tool, I'm going to be hollowing out the inside a little bit. It's a little bit difficult to explain how it works, but on one edge of the ring it's much smaller on the inside diameter of it. And so I need to hollow that out, make sure everything's uniform, that way it'll actually fit onto your finger properly. So that's the reason for grinding it out on the inside. Then I'll be carefully putting the ring in the lathe jaws. You can see I covered it in tape to protect the outside of it because I definitely don't want any dents or scratches on that. And then I'm just going through all the different grits of sandpaper and polish, and so we get a really nice smooth mirror finish on it. That's going to make this a really comfortable ring to wear. So now we're ready for the final step here. So I really want to leave that nice rustic look that it has. There's actually a lot of corrosion that built up on the ring when we were doing the heat treatments to it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fine sandpaper. I'm using 1000 grit here, and then I'm just going to slightly sand that. So I'm turning the lathe on and I'm just nicking the raised edges. That way all of the text and details will really stand out. So you can see it's really shiny where it says $1 and on the eagle wings and on the stars and all of that. And then below that it's really rustic. It looks worn and I think it's a really cool look. And as a final touch, I'm going to add a bit of ring wax, and this will give it a really nice consistent shine to it, as well as provide a little bit of corrosion resistance. And now we're done. This ring is completely finished. I think it's so interesting to see this coin that's just flat, it's just a flat disc, transform into a ring. It's an incredible process, and it's something that's really fun to try on your own. But that's it for this ring. Now I'm going to turn things back over to my former self. This is me 4 days ago when we actually filmed the intro to this video. Hey everyone, just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, you can consider giving it a like as well as subscribing. You can see there's a PAD logo that just popped up on your right hand side there. If you click that, that'll take you to the link to subscribe. And then right below me, that's a link to my website. So if you like the rings that I make, that's where you can buy those. And then in this bottom right hand corner here, that's actually a video that YouTube's suggesting to you personally. So they take a look and see what you'd be interested in, and then pick one of my videos that they think you'd enjoy most. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.